the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours in sight. I am American. That's what I am. That's what I think and what I do. I am American. That's what I am. And I bleed red, white, and blue.
Okay, now I started, Larry. Maybe I ought to put some music on that beginning stuff there so people know I'm at least on my way. But I got to watch what I put out there because Facebook and the other ones, it's like, oh, no, you can't play this, you can't play that. It's all kinds of stuff. So anyway, all right, welcome back to the Super Dave Show. It's Wednesday, December 16th, and oh, boy. I got to tell you, folks, we really have a mess on our hands. We really do. When I look at the garbage of the established Republicans and the left, they're walking hand in hand. In fact, where is it here? I was reading where they here it is. The proposed COVID-19 package, it bails out the Defense Department. I love that song. It bails out the Defense Department, and and what do you got? You got these senators, and I'll get to it here, and they're all these losers that were elected by both parties are going to take care of the defense industry because those people have slowed down, and so they're going to take care of them, and to hell with everybody else. Now, Hawley and Bernie Sanders said, no, you need to have this in there, and that was a stimulus check for people. It's all crazy as far as I'm concerned, but, and I don't think everybody should get one. I'll tell you who shouldn't get a check, especially the ones that are already getting checks. Why? I mean, seriously, I know of a lot of people who get monthly checks, Social Security, and the rest of it. Nothing's changed for them. They're getting the same amount of money either way. And I know it's crazy, but why would I bring any common sense to this? And why are we giving this money to defense contractors? Let me tell you something. People in the defense industry make a ton. Why us? But, I'm going to go through this. The people, the Senate Republicans and Democrats, and this is why real Republicans is real. The Senate Republicans and Democrats here are the ones working together. They're ready to go forward. As far as they're concerned, their problem is over. They think the election's over. They're done. They can go back to business pre-Trump. That's what they want to do. Well, yeah, there's a lot of things. It's really interesting, Larry. There's a lot of things that can happen here, and a lot of people don't understand it. Like I told you yesterday, January 6th is the day that we need to be concerned about. You're right. Keith, look, I got the libertarians give me grief. It's like, well, Trump is doing this. It's like, no. I want to explain politics to people because I am sick to death of these know-it-all libertarians who say, well, you shouldn't do this. It sounds great. I don't, it would be great, but you know what? We have government, and I'm not talking about Trump. We have governments all over the place closing down states. I mean, it's just insane. Closing down states, closing down people's businesses when they've done nothing wrong. And frankly, they're responsible for it. And we're ultimately responsible for it because we are allowing it. What we're saying, this is Americans right now. Well, go ahead and give it to us, and we'll go ahead and worry about it later. And don't worry about those people at the restaurant. They're business owners. They got all kinds of money. Did I see where Brandy Vaughn, prior Merck Pharma representative, was found dead? Yes. Yeah, she was. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you better figure this out. Well, that's why I do it. You're right. Okay, let me make it. She was anti-pharma and wrote multiple articles, and she was found dead. And she said, and I've said this myself, by the way, she said, I have no desire to commit suicide. And next thing you know, she's dead. Now, if you leave that to the powers that be, it's called collateral damage, just like all those dead people in the nursing homes, all that stuff. It's all about them. And we better start figuring this out. And I know Trump has, but we have a problem on our hand. We really do. Jim says you avoid radio because they tell you what you can say and not say. That is exactly right. Some people have asked me and said, well, why don't you go work, at a station? Really? You know something? With the people that love to be lied to, I probably wouldn't do so well. They would call me a nutcase now and the rest of it. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. I mean, people want to be lied to. There's no doubt about it. They want to be lied to. It's sad. But I want to get back to this though. Okay, like Linda was talking about, we got a pharma gal who knows that all this stuff is lies. She's a whistleblower. And do you really believe for 1 minute, seriously? I mean, there are some in the that want to protect her, but this government is so corrupt. Our own government. It's time we look in the mirror and say, you know something? We screwed up. I've had people say, why don't you just fix the Republican Party? Well, I'll tell you what, I've spent many years trying to do that. It cannot be done because two reasons why. Number one, those that are in control are really in control. And secondly, we have too many Republicans who are going to say, well, it's better than Democrat. But that's why we said real Republicans, because I want people to look at this and go, yes, I'm a real Republican. I am not a phony Republican. That's exactly what they are. There's so many. Most of the people that run the Republican Party are phonies. Trust me, they're phonies. And there's a lot of us that know that. Hey, Keith, you sent me that text in regards to the website. And by the way, I did fix it. Somebody texted me yesterday and said, yeah, you can't see it on your phone and all that stuff. I fixed it. I actually fixed that. I learned what I could and couldn't do, and I did fix that. It's better today than it used to be. It's going to get better. But on there, what I told people is I want to be able to put on there about their particular counties what's going to happen themselves. What's going to happen in our county. So I went to Perry County because the information that you had, Keith, was I thought we could find more. You can't find it. That's my point, my friends. The damn government run by the useless Republican Party and the Democrat Party, they do not want any of us involved. Oh, maybe at a low level, yeah, we'll tell you whatever. They don't want us involved. I couldn't find anything. You go on Perry County site, and you can't find anything about the election coming up. Nothing. So if you want to run, I don't know how you find out. I really don't know. I don't know how you found out. Well, you're head of the Republican Party where you are, but the good one. But in most cases, I'm dead serious. You can't find it. I went to St. Louis County. I couldn't find anything. And that goes back to what I was saying, and that's why our website is going to be so important, because of the fact that you're going to be able to go there And it's not going to be perfect, but in time, we're going to make it as informative as you've ever seen. And that's exactly what we want, because we have no idea what's going on. All we are is a bunch of dumbasses sitting back just saying, what's next? What's next? Sherry says Epstein killed himself. Yeah. That, you like that up back there? Who's watching Epstein? Like the Three Stooges, because that's really what it amounts to. And you know what? This is where every American ought to be freaking out, pissed off beyond belief, saying, how can you have somebody that has all this information and you have this guy in a jail cell where he can easily be killed, which he was, and oh, I know people go, well, Trump should have done this and that. You know what? I don't think anybody has any idea how massive our government is. It is over the top, corrupt like never before. It really is. Trump has tried his best, as we know. Trump has tried his best to weed out the garbage. But there's so much garbage there. And what are we doing? What are we doing? We're having elections and we're voting the same damn people in. That's exactly what we just did in August. We got useless governors. Look at DeWine and Kemp and our own governor. I mean, he hasn't been as bad as them, but I'm sorry. My assessment of people is at least they're not as bad as them. Now, unfortunately, when they're the only name on the ballot, it sucks to go in November and say, this is all I have. But the reason that's all we have is because that's what we've done. Now, pardon me, the show notes up there. I meant to put than instead of that. But I learned a long time ago that maybe not us, but the majority people, voters, want to be lied to. They really do want to be lied to. You tell them something juicy good that they want, and you got them. I mean, that's what you do. We got one legislator here. I forgot what it was. She's trying to name a part of the highway, Trump Highway or something like that, whatever. I forgot what it was exactly. It doesn't matter. Yes, that's what we want these people doing. I'm a Trump fan. Everybody knows that. But, you've got to look through this bullshit, because that's what it is. It's publicity-seeking bullshit. And then, let's look at the Trump supporters. By the way, that person voted for Obama, and now they're playing Republican. Nothing wrong with going Republican, but it's all because, I'm in a Republican county now, so I have to run that way. If we can't do a better job of discriminating, which the word, I don't even think a lot of people understand, but actually looking at all these people to see who they are, Democrat and Republican. So many people are lazy. They go, well, he's a Republican. That's better than nothing. I'm sorry. It isn't. No, Carl, he's dead. Carl, Carl's saying Epstein's still alive. I totally disagree with you there. And I'll tell you why. Because if Epstein was to say anything, because you never know what can happen, it would bring a lot of people down. And they knew it. That would be the Clintons and all kinds of people. It would bring a lot of people down. And that's the problem. There it is right there. I thought you were watching Epstein. So I used to think that, but you know what? It's like anything else. It's better not to have any witnesses than one that you hope won't say anything that you'll give things to. In this world, as vicious as it is, don't ever think for 1 minute. I mean, I think that Epstein is alive because I think he's gone for good. He has too much information on way too many people. And of course I haven't. You haven't either. And just because you haven't seen the body, what are you going to do? Travel to where he was and see the body? There's a lot of that going on. And look, I could be wrong. I'm giving you my opinion. I think he's dead because I think a dead body can't talk. And these people are vicious. Look, they're killing people. Look, let me tell you where we are right now, okay? There's a gentleman who's president right now, and hopefully president for 4 more years, who came out with a thought and said, I think hydroxychloroquine looks like a game changer. And the very people being paid to protect us, who supposedly are here to take care of the sick and the rest of it, they did everything they could to push on many states or pharmacists, whatever. He did everything they could. They did everything they could to trash hydroxychloroquine. That's going to kill you. It's not right. All this stuff. They made hydroxychloroquine look like poison. And, it's the AMA. It's a political organization. I think people better understand it's a political organization. And that's what happens. Yes, people. No, they silenced those. Look, they silenced the gal from the pharma gal. She's gone. That's why I'm saying. Well, they do. I'm not saying they don't. Biden and Clinton like their little girls. I'm not. Look, there's plenty. It's like a drug dealer. There's plenty more to take over. But my point is that we have allowed this to happen, and that's why we have real Republicans going because we want to change what's going on, and some people are like, well, we don't have enough people yet. In time, it's going to add up. I'm not. One person said, well, you need to add all kinds of people. Well, I'll be honest with you. To start this out, I want to make sure that we have the most pure people we have. And then as time goes on, it's going to get better and better. Now, as time goes on, you're going to have more and more get in, and they're going to say, wait, what about this and what about that? And you have to have your limits. In fact, one of the things, Keith, when we get together with a few of the other people, is that we want to have some basic rules. And those rules can always change, and as time goes on, but we want people basically look at these rules and say, and tell me if you agree with this, and say, you know what? That's who I am. Because there's not a person watching this show right now that wants our kids to be paying for another stimulus check. But there are some people, I've been hurt some, but when I look at the people in the restaurant industry and so many industries that are related to people getting together. And by the way, people getting together is part of what the deep state doesn't want. Because see, when we get together, we can talk. The one thing that Republicans have done that have ruined, that have allowed this to happen, is we have allowed every little thing to divide us. Yes, exactly right. Better to have stronger people than too many people. It's not about numbers. It's about quality. And actually, here's what can happen. I mean, this is what I believe. And believe me, I spend more time than I probably should thinking about this, but I'm so dedicated to this. If you get the right people starting this out, showing what can be done, and the purity of it, what can be done, then as more and more people join in, and we say, this is where we're going with this, then, because there's certain places we don't need to be going. It's like the Tea Party. The Tea Party got ruined because it included way too much. I'm not saying that we don't want to include more people, but we want to include more people who are going to say, this is not really where we want to go. Because I really don't want demented people involved. And I don't want, I'll tell you the truth, I really don't want lazy, stupid people involved. Do you? People that if, one of the things I believe is important is, have you done your homework? Do you know where? Do you know who these people are that's on the ballot? If you can't teach yourself to find out who these people are, then shame on you. Granted, you can't find everybody. I get that. And there are certain things we'll try to put in place to help that. It's going to be a growing experience, no doubt about it. And by the time I'm gone, hopefully it'll be huge and take over the Republican Party. But I think it can, because right now, I think two things. I think, number one, I think most Republicans are so fed up with the garbage that we see in the Senate right now with the Senate Republicans and Democrats, and they're doing a package and they're saying, screw everybody else. Well, you're right. You're right. Rules are good, and you don't have to agree on everything. I mean, look, there's a few things that I've changed in the last few years. And I'll tell you what, there is one advantage to maturing, getting older. There is one advantage to it. You really look at things differently because you've got all this behind you, and you can see where you yourself were fooled. I can tell you right now, I do not. How can I say this? I can understand how people, when they're younger, get fooled because they're full of vigor and they want to believe certain things that aren't true. But when you get older, you get to a point and it's like, those things aren't true. You just know they're not true. When Donald Trump walked down that escalator and said, I'm going to run for president, my experience looked at him and I said, that's the guy that's going to lead us. And I already told you, everybody thought I was nuts. But I knew it right then. I just knew it. Because and what did I take into account? Now, this is something that really cracks me up. People said, well, he's just got he just has an ego. I said, good. They all have egos. At least he's honest about it. But his ego is a driving force. I can tell you right now, I have an ego. I know people don't believe that, whatever, but I have an ego. But it's my driving force. You know what my ego, and let me tell you something, my ego, is that I don't believe in excuses. That's part of my ego. I believe in being successful. I think everybody should do that. Now, we're all going to make mistakes, but we learn from our mistakes and go forward. But I believe wholeheartedly that ego is a major deal that probably helps Donald Trump. I really do believe that. Because if it wasn't for his ego, seriously, wasn't for his ego, where would he be? I'm dead serious. Where would he be? Because what happens is people, he uses that ego and he says, you know what? I'm still going to achieve these things. It's about achieving things. You're right. Life experiences are the best teachers because, and this is where it counts. This is why a lot of parents, and we've all done this, you don't want your kids to make these mistakes. And all you can do, and this is the one thing that people have to understand, all you can do is give them the advice. Don't tell them. If you sit there and try to jam it down their head, it's not going to work because they're probably going to come back at you. But, there's times I'll just say, you're going to do what you're going to do. If they look at me, I'm not going to tell you what kids, but, whatever. You're going to do what you want to do. But I'm letting you know right now, that's my experience. And if they trust my experience, great. If they don't, nothing I can do about it. But the one thing I want in the Real Republicans is that we use our experiences as best. It doesn't mean we all agree. That's never going to happen. But as long as the basics are what counts. That's what counts the most. Because everyone's like, well, I think they should do this. I think they should do that. The basics are there. I guess there are some basics, typical Republican, but this is the difference. Do you really believe in the First Amendment? Do you really believe in it? I do. Do you really believe in the Second Amendment? Actually, do you really believe in the Constitution. You know what I would say to that, honestly? I believe in the Constitution, except for several amendments I'm not too happy about, because I think the founders had it right when they wrote the damn thing, and we've screwed it up. I honestly believe that. Not every one of them, because times change. But the biggest, one of the biggest ones I think we totally screwed up on, I forget the amendment, I'm sure somebody's going to tell me, is when we started electing our senators. That took away states' rights. Because, even a lot of people, they don't even teach this in school anymore. And I'm sorry, I don't remember which amendment. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me. I think it's 17th. Anyway, I don't remember. But anyway, the whole point of the legislatures appointing the senators is so the Congress would represent the people in their districts. The senators would represent the legislatures in each state. That's exactly what it was there for. Amendment 17. See, I was right. Hey, I was right. Thank you, John. But, that's one of the amendments I think is garbage. It needs to go out. I remember interviewing Roy Blunt when I was doing radio. And I asked him about that, and he said, no, I think everything's good the way it is. Of course he thought that. Because he wants to be senator forever and the whole thing. Yeah, income tax. People don't even realize. And in fact, this is so true. People don't even realize that we didn't have an income tax before the 16th Amendment. You go, well, how did we make it? Actually, we made it pretty well. And do you know where most of our money came from? Most of our money came from other countries. You go, what? Yes. Because they would sell stuff to us and we charge them. That's right. Because we weren't independent nation. But right now that the senators and the rest of them, they want us to be globalist. Look at the Bushes. It's really weird because I know a lot of people like the Bushes. I was never a fan. I didn't, I just was never a fan of the Bushes. Actually, the last, I'm sure there's many out there, the last Republican presidents I was ever fond of was Reagan. That was it. But when Bush was president, either one of them. And if you notice, they all start wars. Reagan didn't start a war. Trump is trying to end everything, all the wars. He's trying to do that, and he's getting the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They're going, we don't want that. We want to continue wars. They love wars. That's how they do their thing. That's how they do it. I couldn't think of the word tariffs. Anyway, our country was taken care of by tariffs. But right now, so what happens right now? Not right now. All of us work our butts off. The federal government takes our money, and I go on and on about taxes. People don't even, People don't even realize how much they pay in taxes. Have no idea. They say, oh, well, I pay income tax. Here's an insane thing that really drove me crazy. The earned income credit. That's welfare. Okay, fine. You want to help somebody who's working and really they can't afford to pay the tax. Let's just say that's true. Then why, when they get their tax return, and I know this because my loser family, relatives, I should say, not my family. These are relatives. My loser relatives, they get the earned income, but they don't even work. They get the earned income tax credit, and they don't even work. How can that be? How can that be? They get the ones I'm talking in particular, they get Social Security disability checks because they couldn't get welfare anymore, so they found lawyers to make sure they got Social Security checks. And so they get their Social Security checks, they get their housing paid for, they get their health care paid for, and then somewhere or another they file taxes, and all the money, I don't even know how it works exactly. All I know is, every year is like, well, yeah, we get a $6,000 check, and I'm thinking, you people don't even work. You people don't even work. It's insane. Oh, Larry, most people, the reason the fair tax really didn't work, I like the fair tax, and it's not the fair tax that they talk about over in Illinois either. The reason I like the fair tax is because it gets rid of the IRS. And I've told people this, it's really none of my business how much money Keith or Larry or Linda or Wendy, anybody makes. It's none of my business. With the fair tax, you don't worry about that. And there's so much, and it does protect the poor. There's a lot of things it does. But unfortunately, because there is so much influence in Washington, D.C. and the rest of it, trying to change these things is impossible. One of the reasons why, I really believe this, one of the reasons why also that they wanted Trump out of there is because I really believe he wanted to get rid of the Department of Education in his second term. Do you know how many people would lose their jobs with government? And it's really interesting. I don't even know if you know what people make in federal government, they do quite well. They do very well. For those of you that state government, at least in Missouri, if they're a state government worker, they don't make a lot of money. They really don't. Because I know people, and this is something I want to make sure we teach people, that if you're going to go after people, go after the right ones. And really, it's not the people's fault for what they're making. It's the politicians' fault. There's something I want to stop. And I don't know what you think about this. People blame the lobbyists for everything. The lobbyists do not vote. The lobbyists put laws. They put legislation together. Oh, yeah. But guess who votes it in? Your congressman and senator. That's who votes it in. Have you ever wondered why until Trump, why the Republicans, the established Republican Party, who tells you that we don't want our money, we don't want our money going to Planned Parenthood for abortions because we don't believe in abortion. And what happens every single time? They voted in. Well, it's in a bill. We had no choice. That's how they play the game, my friends. These, I don't accept Washington, D.C. the way it is. And you shouldn't either. For you to think that it's okay to take your children's money and give it away to people who sit on their asses and do nothing, or those that are the rich, because I have nothing against rich people, but the rich people, and I didn't blame Trump, but they go there and have legislation pushed their way, and they get it. If people understood the corporate welfare, and this is what you have to understand, I don't blame. We got to put the blame where the blame is, because the ones voting this stuff is who we got to blame it on. That's why, and ultimately, we put them there. But if your congressman or senator is cutting the taxes of the super rich, and if you're concerned about it, then stop blaming the people. Go after the people voting for that. Well, yeah, but they get their money from lobbyists. You're right. But my point is, Larry, who are the ones that are voting? I'll tell you what. I always like to put myself in that place. So let's say, for instance, I'm elected. This won't happen, so unless I go there. I'm elected to Congress. And in fact, I talked to a very good friend of mine about this in the state. The lobbyists come and see you. First off, you are a hero. Hey, we're glad to see you. They want to be the other congressmen or House members in the state. They want to be your best friend because they want to pull you in to their world. Now they realize you're full of vigor and all that stuff, and so they play you. And as strong as a lot of people think they are, they're not that. They're not strong. I happen to be one of the more stubborn people out there when it comes to this stuff. That wouldn't be me. But it's our job to go after. It's our job to go after these people. So if you have someone there who you know is selling themselves because they're let's use Roy Blunt. Roy Blunt has been in, he was a congressman for many years, and then this is his 10th year of being a senator. His wife works. All his kids and his wife are all lobbyists. What a deal. I can take care of my family. I guess you're supposed to do that. But are you telling the voters that? Don't you think, in fact, you know what? This is something we could do. One thing about this show, it gets me thinking. One of the things that we can do is when we are giving our assessments on the people that are running for office, for those of you that are joining us here, how would you like it if you could read it and you go, I didn't know Roy Blunt's wife was a lobbyist here. I think she's a lobbyist for Monsanto. His son, his other kids, they're all lobbyists. They're all making an awesome living. And the money you think they're making is going to be minor compared to what they're really making because they're not going to report it all. Look at the bartender, AOC. She talks out both sides of her mouth. She does the same thing Republicans do. They play these games, and that's why we got to stop it. So, one of our jobs is to become more educated, and that's the one thing we want to do. We want to say, we're going to have a hell of a website for this, but it would be so good to explain, have these things there, and leave them there for a while for people to see and say, this is who your congressman is. This is who your senator is. This is who they're associated with. And but we can't say, I can't even go on a website. I went on St. Louis counties too to find out what positions are open in the next election. You can't find them. You cannot find them. Why? Because they don't want you to know. It's really, really sad. Where was I here? I was looking. The Babylon Bee. You've heard of Babylon Bee? Is a sarcastic website. It's wonderful, and it's crazy, and I love it. Chinese spy assigned to date Eric Swalwell begs to be sent to labor camp instead. Now, it's great headline and all that stuff, but let me tell you what wouldn't be so funny. This is what's wrong. Just like the AMA, and I'll get back to it because I think it's very important. Just like the AMA lied to the American public and said, we think hydroxychloroquine should not be out there. It's going to kill people. It was an outright lie. You know what I believe with that anyway? I think that every family whose doctor, sue the doctor who went for this crap, and sue everybody involved who put out that garbage and said that. I really do believe that. And go ahead and sue them for everything they have. I am sick to death of these people walking around. They lie left and right, and they walk away. That's how the deep state works. But this is where we die. This is where our country doesn't have the First Amendment needs to be fixed. I shouldn't say be fixed. It needs to be, something needs to follow up on this garbage. Eric Swalwell is sleeping with a Chinese spy. He got the story itself got 0 minutes on CBS. No time. Hey, it's not important. We want to talk about the lies every day and what we're trying to push on President Trump, Russian collusion, all the other crap. NBC, 0 minutes. ABC, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. They put out more garbage on Trump than you've ever seen in one broadcast than they have talking about this guy. MSNBC, of course, 0 minutes. And CNN, 3 minutes. That is our First Amendment. Unbelievable. Well, and you're right, Doug. You're right. The AMA, they should be taken to task. But you know what? You're not going to hear from the media. Why did they do this? Why? They had no problem accusing. They have no problem accusing Trump of every death, every phony death, you name it. He's got 300,000 deaths on his hands. I've actually done a little bit of Facebooking sometimes, and one woman says, Trump had nothing to do with that. You know what? If somebody is that stupid, I've always said you can't fix stupid. If Orange Man is bad, they are emotional. They're not even listening to common sense. I try to listen to everything. I go on many websites to see if the websites that I agree with are telling me everything. They generally aren't telling you everything, but there's certain ones you can pretty much trust. I remember when I used to be able to trust Drudge Report. You can't trust that anymore, of course. That turned to a leftist website. They're in competition with HuffPost. No, they lie. No, they lied. You're wrong, Carl. They lied. The media has lied. They're outright lies. That's what they've done. In here, you've got this, and you've got all this information on Swalwell. Nothing. And AMA, they're not going to say anything against them. They're gonna give them a soft story, if anything, and say, well, they did it because they were really concerned. They didn't want to put something out there. In the meantime, they were killing all these people because they would not give it to them. There were doctors out there, in fact, in Michigan, there were governors out there telling, this is criminal. These people should be in jail. These governors, I got to find that too. These governors who were telling them not to hand out hydroxychloroquine, they should have nothing to do with it. They should be jailed for murder. Because they're keeping away something that could have helped these people, and they said, no, we don't want to do that. And a lot of these doctors said, well, we're not going to do that. It's time. I mean, we have to call these people out. When we do have a big political organization going here, we're going to have press conferences, and we're going to say the AMA, if this is what happens when we're going on, the AMA, when they came out with this, not only did they kill people, they should be jailed. They should be all held responsible, but hell was suing them because you sue these people. Here's the problem here. This is what happens with rich people a lot of times. You sue them, and they got more money than they know what to do with, or their insurance company pays, which you do too. But that's all they have to do is make it criminal. This governor was holding back a drug that could save people. That person should be jailed. It would make my day to see Whitmer with handcuffs on going to jail with so many others. It would make my day. Oh, Parson, same thing. I haven't kept up with same thing. Parson is a joke. We all know that. Parson is a total joke. And that's just it. He's playing smoke and mirrors right now because he's an established Republican. I don't care if somebody says he isn't, you're full of crap. And if he isn't, then he's being led by established Republicans. It doesn't make a difference. And more and more, I'm beginning to wonder if maybe those voting results in our state were even close to accurate. I would think not. I know it wasn't in my county because the establishment runs the show. And as I told you, we have all this updating, all this stuff going on with computers, and they're not necessary. They're not necessary. Sam Page is another one. Should have never been elected. And I don't think he was. That's just it. We have so many people out there. They got elected. How did they do that? We got Joe Biden. He was elected. Look at how much voter fraud is going on, and we have the very people who are supposed to stand for justice look at this and say, I don't see anything. Oh, you got that right. Murphy, Cuomo. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. They should be put in jail. And you know what? If you start doing that stuff, do you know why Blagojevich was put in jail? Honestly, it's not because of what he did, because they all do it. Not all, most do it. Because he got caught. That's usually how it works. Cuomo should be put in jail and never get out. Well, that's Doug, they're not supposed to be online. In fact, as far as I can tell you right now, they should never, ever be online. They shouldn't have a modem. They shouldn't have any network connection whatsoever. They should have nothing. Yes, it's rigged. I meant Sherry there. Whatever. The point is that, oh yeah, they should. Oh, Doug said that. It should be online. They shouldn't. Why are they online? If there's first of all, I'll say it again. Why is there an update needed for a simple addition program on a voting machine? There's no reason. There really isn't. It's so easy. I'm telling you, I know enough about it where I could write it, and I'm not that good at it, but I could write it. But if I got a crackpot person that can write code, I can tell them what I want to write, and you'd never have to go back again. Well, the only way you can hack it if it's online. That's the whole point. Well, see, Larry, I know Jim Talent, and I think he's weak. I just do. I like him. He's a nice guy, but he doesn't speak up, and I'm sorry. You got to speak up. You got to speak up. You got to say, no, this is wrong. I want a Jim Jordan. They were yesterday. Oh, I got to tell you, yesterday I was listening to Rush a little bit. Yeah, I do listen to other people. I was listening to Rush, and this guy calls up and he says, "Well, if it doesn't turn out where the president ends up being president, who do you think's gonna head the Republican Party?" And Rush turned around and he said, "Well, who do you think?" You ready for this? This shows you who we're dealing with, my friends. The first name out of his mouth was, "What about Mitch McConnell?" I'm driving and I wanted to pull over and just scream. And I think Rush was like, okay, he wasn't saying anything. He was just listening to the guy. He said, well, what if it isn't Mitch? He goes, how about Lindsey Graham? Now, I don't know about you people. So far, this guy is 0 for 2. This guy is really, in my book, saying, let's continue the same as usual. That's what he's saying. Now, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not a college graduate. I'm sorry. I need to be ashamed and walk off and be called a hillbilly, I guess. I don't know. But I really and truly, I agree. Talent is weak. We really do need to have some guts in office. We just do. But why in the world are we allowing these people to, it's like, well, let's get somebody else who's full of crap. And really, is that really what we want? How are we going to change things? The definite, because I am just like him. No, I'm kidding. One of my favorite people is Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I remember there was an interview with a gentleman who found a ship in the ocean, and they had previous tries, like 6 previous tries was made, and they all tried the same way. And the interviewer said, "Well, what did you do?" He said, "Well, if they did it the same way 6 times, what that taught me is that's not the way to do it. So we did a totally different way." I don't have all the facts, but the base is here. And that was I did something else. I did something totally different. And they found it in the first day. I think this ship had lots of gold on it and the rest of it. It was worth a lot of money. And they're still pulling, they're still taking it out for a long time, whatever. But the point is they found it because they did something different. How in the world can we change the Republican Party if we put the same jackasses in charge? Look, a lot of us, and if you have been involved, let me tell you right now, my experience has been, and I'll bet you the same with a lot of people who have actually been truly involved, like Keith and some other ones here. And let me tell you something. We all have things to add, so I am not trying to act like I have all the answers. I don't. And I do like to listen to others. But I think what happens when you get older, especially, is you've been through that how many times? And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Okay, here's what's happened before. A lot of people were Republicans. And this might make a lot of sense to you people. A lot of people were Republicans. And they got fed up with the Republican Party. So they said, we're going to start a new party. Okay, fine. So they start a new party, and they find out nobody's paying attention. Libertarian, Constitution Party, what? They start these other parties, and they find out that they can't get elected anything because nobody's going there. Because the huge majority of people they say, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. That's where the brilliance of this starts, because that means we are still Republicans. So I am encouraging every former Republican, or some of you libertarians. Now, yesterday some libertarian is trying to tell me how awful Trump is because he's allowing all this to happen. You know what? It doesn't. It may start from the top, but in order for you to help the right people sometimes, you got to give in to jackasses. You do. Because he didn't elect those people. I think Trump would hate to even go with 90% of what they want to do. But he's got to work with them, whether he likes to or not, in order to get this stuff to the people he needs to go to. That's how it works. But you get the extreme libertarians that go, well, it doesn't matter. We just shouldn't do it. Well, I guess in the meantime, all these restaurant owners who are being closed by the government should just go ahead and die. There's nothing there. So I totally get it. Yeah, Rand Paul, I met Rand Paul a couple times. He's a good guy. He's actually shorter than me. But I like Rand Paul. In fact, I remember when Trump got in office, he and Rand, they got together and they said Rand Paul figured out that Trump was the real deal. He just played the game differently. And I think Rand Paul is learning a lot from Donald Trump. But sometimes Rand Paul wouldn't agree with him, and he'd vote against something Trump wanted. And people say, oh, forget him. No, you think Trump didn't like that? It wasn't anything that was going to destroy something Trump was doing. It was a vote against him because Rand has his own values. And by the way, probably very close to Trump's, but sometimes because you are in office and you're president, you have to do things a little differently. But the senators don't have to do it the same way. But people would say, oh, forget Rand Paul. That's bullshit. Ron Johnson, same way. Mo Brooks, same way. Those are people that are the ones that we can trust. And that's what we have to, that's who we have to focus on. We're going to focus on the ones we trust. Jim Jordan. I mean, I'll tell you what. When you watch those impeachment hearings, that's a guy that I would learn a lot from going against. I mean, I think I'm a pretty damn good debater, but that guy was vicious. That guy was a Trump guy all the way. So when the gentleman called Rush's show, the first person I thought of was Jim Jordan. There's some other ones, Doug Collins, whatever, but I like Jim Jordan. Hi, Dave. How you doing, Emilio? Emilio, my friend there, lives in New York City. I hope I'm not saying too much here, Emilio. And he is devastated because the city he grew up in has gone to crap. It's gone to crap. He can't even go to a restaurant. Everything's being shut down. People are losing their businesses. I mean, New York City, one of the greatest ones ever. Probably the greatest city ever in the world is going to crap. Why? Due to politics. As everyone knows, I don't wear a mask. And when I tell people who wear a mask all the time, when I tell these people that my friends don't wear masks and they don't get it, you're just lucky. Well, there are a few that did get it, but it was real minor. They got through. It was no big deal. Nobody really, another one too, I like that. And they would look at me and say, well, you're giving it to us. And I know, wait a minute. You're telling me that because of the fact that you got that thing on your face and you are getting it, and not only that, my mask friends are getting it. Little petri dish there. We've talked about that. They're getting it. And you're trying to tell me it's our fault you're getting it? Honest to God. Did they start putting brains in their ass? I mean, sorry to be so blunt about it. This is crazy. Oh, God. Emilio, I'll tell you what. It breaks my heart to watch these great cities go down to nothing. New York City, probably one of the greatest cities ever in the history of the world, is going to crap. I'm from St. Louis. It was going downhill when I was growing up, but actually it was very safe. The neighborhoods were neighborhoods. They actually, we had neighborhoods. You could walk to the bars. You could walk to the park. You could do all those things. It was wonderful. It really was. St. Louis City was a wonderful area. Yes, they had a few crap areas. Every city does. But St. Louis City was a wonderful city. Fast forward to today. I wouldn't live there. If they gave me a house, I wouldn't live there. Number one, I would have no voice whatsoever. None. Now, we can't give up on the cities, but that's what we've done. And it's unfortunate. We can't give up on the cities. The cities are our lifeblood. When you have the Chicago Cubs and resident, look what's happened to Chicago, New York. We can keep going. Well, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. I want to bring this vaccine up, okay? None of us really know what's going on here. The vaccine may work wonderful. It may. But I can tell you from my own life experience that I am not about to get a vaccine. Number one, I try to stay healthy. I try to eat the right stuff. Not all the time. I eat garbage too, like everybody else. But I do try to eat, vegetables and all that stuff, fruits. I do that. Maybe for unhealthy people, it's a good idea. I don't know. All I know is I don't need it because I don't see any reason to get a vaccine if there's nothing, if I'm not afraid of something. And now, if the death rate on COVID was 20%, I might be thinking about it. I might, okay? But the one thing I can tell you right now is I don't like to be a guinea pig. Guinea pig status isn't good for me. I don't do the flu vaccine. What? Well, here. What do you think of the people that are getting the vaccine and they're still walking around with a mask? The masked Nazis are going to say, well, I don't care. You may give it to me. Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. Amazing music. Now let's see. That's I don't get all of them here. I got to look at this down here. I got two chat boards I got to look at here, and the other ones I don't know if they go to it or what. I'll figure it out. But anyway, let's get back to this vaccine crap. Well, no, look, any vaccine can be dangerous. You know, because I'm not young anymore. Every time I go to the doctor, I got to tell you about my last doctor appointment. Every time I go to the doctor, the first thing out of the someone's mouth there is, would you like a flu shot? No. Well, it's really important for someone your age. Thanks a lot. But I haven't had flu yet. But if you get it, well, if I get it, I'll worry about it then. If you get it. Well, guess what? I don't, I do believe pretty much in if it isn't broken, don't, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Because generally when you do that, you end up with problems. But Wendy got one last year or year before, whatever it was. She was feeling crappy for about a month. After the show, you need to archive your shows. It's on YouTube also, I believe. But I'll do that. I'm not sure how you do that, but I'll get it. See, I'm still a novice at some of this stuff. I mean, I am a techie guy. Linda was being real nice. She goes, Dave, I don't know how you do all that stuff. I don't either. I just do it. Yeah. Prevention, immune friendly. Yeah, that's what you do. 50 milligrams of zinc, minimum 8 ounces of tonic water, good multivitamin, green tea. We all have different ways. I probably, sometimes I don't drink 8 ounces, but I still drink my tonic water. Yeah, our girl Nikki, she is there to help me. I will give her credit. The reason I am where I am on here is because she has helped me spread the word. It's all over the place. It's getting there and it's getting bigger. But I do want to tell everybody this in case they're here right now. I did 5 shows last week. I don't want this show to ever be a job. So I am limiting it to three shows like I always have. And if it's a good week, I'll add more. But I don't want people to expect it. I just don't want to do that. I can't because I do have all these other things I have to do. And unless somebody wants to become my producer, which who knows, maybe they will someday. Unless somebody wants to be become my producer, then right now it's just a lot of work to do by yourself. It just is. And honestly, it's possible. I'm even doing the website. I'm not a website guy. Where are all these people out there? And this is what Real Republicans is also about. I want to make sure you understand this. If you're getting involved, this is not so I can have fans. I couldn't care less if someone is a fan. What I care about is if somebody says, I want to do my part to help to get involved so we don't have this problem again. I want every Trump supporter who says they really care to get off their dead asses and get involved. That doesn't mean listen to my show. It's great you do it. I appreciate it. What it means is when we have places on the ballot that are available, and there's all kinds of people out there, we want you to look at it and say, you know what? I need to get involved. And I'm telling you right now, I've already done it. It is so satisfying to know that you're a part of a solution. You talk about your heart getting bigger. You look around and you go, and here's what goes is not only do we get involved and put our name on the ballot, but we help those people. I'm sick of people thinking that freedom is free. Every election, I spend more money than I should. But I'm tired of doing it. I have to retire. I'm trying to. I can't even retire because I spent way too much money on that stuff because I care so much. But it's time that every person. We're going to have a point where I know some people are going to like it. Oh well, you don't want to. You don't have to because that means you don't care enough. But we're going to have it to where you're going to be able to contribute. I don't like the word donate. Sounds like you're not getting anything out of it. Contribute to the cause. This is not about money. Trust me. I don't get a penny out of it. I don't want any money from it. That's not who I am. Do I deserve it? Probably, but I don't care. That's not what it's about. I as long as I can pay my bills, that's all I really care about. It's where everybody watching this show right now has to say, I can't stand around and watch it happen. I just can't do it. Well, America is, you know what? The one thing we do have going for us, we do have a lot of Trump people that I think have finally awakened. I mean, I'm really proud of them. I really am. It makes my day when I see all these Trump people saying, Dave, I want to get involved. When I get done with the show, I go, yes. That makes my day. What doesn't make my day is when people say, why don't you entertain me? Look, I love Rush. I think Rush is one of the greatest things ever happened to our country. But the one thing I wish Rush would do is say, the one way we can change this, and maybe he said this and I didn't hear it, is when more good, honest people get involved. And you will rarely find a talk show guy do that. Most of the talk show guys, I'm not knocking them. In fact, some have joined in. They won't give me the credit. I really don't care. I don't care about credit. But they have joined in and they're saying, we have to join. You've got to get involved. I'm going to tell you something about media too. This isn't all of them. I don't think Rush is in the least bit insecure. But most media people, and I'm telling you, I know this for a fact, most media people are very insecure. They're afraid of losing their livelihood. I get that to some extent. And they're afraid of offending the very people who watch and listen to their shows. I couldn't care less. Because if I upset you because of something I say, unless I'm wrong, and I'm usually not wrong with the things I come out with, unless I offend you with something I say, I really couldn't care less. Usually if I offend somebody, they're not happy. When I say, you get off your asses and help us, they go, I don't have time for that. Then you know what? You're not a real American. Oh, I get on Facebook and I do this and this. What are you doing personally? And the best way to bring this out is to talk about the military. Did we mail it in for World War II? For those of you old enough to remember reading about it, I don't even know if it's in the history books anymore. Did we mail it in? No, we had Americans that said we have to fight for our country. That's what we need right now. We need people to fight for our country just like they did then. And it's a hell of a lot easier. You're not getting off a boat and having them shoot 1/3 or 1/2 the people to get off your boat. That's not what you're doing. This is easy stuff compared to what they do in the military. This is easy stuff compared to what they do. The founders did. This is not easy. This isn't even close. When I ask people to take the damn mask off, they look at me like I have 3 heads. Well, I really don't want to offend anybody. Stop worrying about offending someone. You're offending the enemy. When are you going to stop taking your advice from the enemy? When? Yes, this is D-Day right now. D-Day, we are losing. We are losing right now. We got people running around. I can't go to a damn store with 99% of the people wearing masks. I feel like I'm on another planet. You know where I feel like I am? Seriously? I feel like I'm in communist China, where they instruct everybody, this is what you're going to do. Now, it's the first step because in China you don't have a choice. North Korea, you don't have a choice because they say you wear the mask or we'll shoot you. But guess what? In the United States, they're on the first step of trying to have you do this. They're saying, now wait a minute. If you really care about your neighbor, they use the emotion because emotion always works. They use the emotion and say, if you really care about your neighbor or your grandfather, I love when he told me that one. If you really care about your grandparents, then you'll wear a mask. And when I look at him, I go, hey, I'm a great grandparent. I got a great grandchild. I'm the one that's supposed to get all this crap. I'm not getting it. I'm walking around like a free man, and you guys are in prison. You guys look like prisoners. I'm telling you. If you walk into, look, this is how you do it. It's not that hard. I've done it many times. If you really have to have something from that place, leave the mask off. Walk in. If they don't say anything, you won. If they say something, turn around and say, I'm sorry, I don't like to wear masks. Well, you have to be in here. They have every right to say that if it's their place of business, if they're there. Not another customer, because another customer, that's just another idiot. But never be afraid of confrontation. Why are Republicans, or whatever, why are we so afraid of confrontation? Do you see the left being afraid of confrontation? Not at all. Exactly. Forget the diaper. Think of a diaper on your face. In fact, I'm going to have some fun with this, Doug. Doug is involved with the laboratory business and all that stuff okay, you ready for this? This will get you to take that stupid mask off. Think of the mask as a diaper. Now, if you are a parent and you've ever changed a diaper, what is in that diaper? Think about it. Nothing that you want to breathe, right? Well, breathing is another way to collect the poisons in your body. Am I right, Doug? You got this filter on there. What do you do with a vacuum cleaner bag when you're done? What do? You empty it out and you get rid of it because you don't want all that dust in there. You don't want in your house, but you take it in your breathing system? Are you serious? This is not difficult, friends. And so when you go to the store, don't be afraid. It doesn't bother me at all. I walk in there and I really had only Costco was a problem, and I got out of there. Why is it that people say, Dave, you're just so brave? You know what I'm going to say? You're just a chicken shit. And I call them as this. You may not like that, but you are. Because I believe in being free. Now, if you don't like freedom, by God, keep that Petri dish diaper on your face. Keep that diaper on your face that's full of crap. Keep it there. Walk in. Keep breathing that stuff, and eventually you'll get something bad too. That's exactly what happens. Because when you're a wuss, God, we have so many wusses. I had a discussion with one of my Facebook friends yesterday, and it's really interesting. Emilio, and I've had a bunch of them. We've had some very great conversations, and the one thing that this gentleman said yesterday is I mentioned, we were joking about the Constitution and the amendments, and I was joking about it, and I said, what about the amendment where they had women voting? And I said that for a reason, and he was right, because I said this on the air already. I see more women with more guts lately than wussified males. I do not call wussified males men. I'm sorry, I just don't do it. They're Muslim, yeah, but you are a communist in my book. Well, I'm trying to protect somebody. It doesn't work. You're listening to the enemy. In World War II, do you think General MacArthur called up the Japanese general and said, hey, can you give me some advice here? Yeah, they did it. You know what they did? They said, yeah, don't worry about Pearl Harbor. That's what they did. So they didn't worry about Pearl Harbor, and the Japanese said, these people are idiots. They went in there, and what'd they do? They took out Pearl Harbor. So right now, look, it may not seem like it to you right now, but that's exactly what it is to me. Because when you are not doing what you need to do to show your patriotism, I've seen the ones that say, mine says Trump. You know what? You know what says Trump more? An empty face. No muzzle, no diaper, nothing. An empty face. That to me says Trump, because I believe in freedom. I believe in my country. And you know what? If Trump could stand up against these bunch of jackasses that are destroying our country, the least you could do is take the mask off and become an American, become a freedom-loving American. My friend Linda there is one of the toughest women I know. And Wendy, same way. She goes to these places. She didn't care. But let's talk about Linda for a second. Linda gets up in front of these people. I mean, she gets up in front of them and lets them have it. She doesn't put up with anything. Love her. I mean, she's just great at it. She goes there and she'll give anyone any grief they can. She will, because if you're wrong, you're wrong, and she'll say it, and that's it. But you know how many people are afraid of confrontation? And there's a few of us that do it. Tanya, same way. She gets there. She's in her wheelchair. She goes right up to them, and she lets them have it. She gives them both barrels. Doug does it. And it's been known that I do it too. And then when people say, well, I'm so glad you do it. Join us. Do you know how free I feel when I do it? Do you know how in charge I feel? And you know what I don't like is when there's 50 people in a room and there's one or two that do it, and the other's going, oh, that's a good one. Can you say it? Oh, no, I can't do that. Here's another one for us, Keith. If you can't speak up for your freedom, maybe you really aren't a Republican. Maybe you really aren't a patriotic person. It's time. I've seen some people, this what really gets me, I've seen some people who are quiet and then all of a sudden get in a room, and when they talk about their patriotism, they get up and they become a different person. Because let me tell you something about public speaking, because when you go to these things, you're public speaking. You're talking to the person that can write a book about being scared to death about getting in front of people. I know you find it hard to believe, and I've told this story to the most of the people that know me. But it's your heart that's talking. I used to be as scared to death of this damn microphone. My heart is doing it. And I really couldn't care less what anyone else thinks about it. If somebody says, I don't like him, whatever. And look, I got more enemies than a lot of people. Do you think I really leave my house thinking about that? I really don't care. When I go into a place or somebody, I walk into Sam's and they say, hey, would you like a mask? And I go, no, thank you. I enjoy breathing oxygen. And a lot of times they just sit there and they're stuck doing it because their employer, because of all the crap that goes on. But, here we go. And I understand this, but here we go. We have the little Nazis running around. There was a gentleman, maybe I can find it here. There was a gentleman yesterday. I'm going to take a break anyway. But there was a gentleman that was, get this here real quick. That was his gym. And I don't know if you've seen it. And he's got all kinds of, there's actually two I will talk about. He had paper, he had these 8.5 sheets of paper, and they had a message under each one of them. And he's got this big gym somewhere, and they've given him all these fines. He said, screw you. I'm still doing it. People go, wow, he's great. That's a person that steps up and says, I am a free American. Now, let me talk about the people I'm embarrassed by. I watched a gentleman yesterday. There were people outside. And there was a I think there was a police. Oh no, there were two health inspectors or something like that writing a citation against a guy that he had to close his business. And the guy was saying, Costco's got 500 people in it right now. How can we not close them down? Whatever. And that's why it works. You know, people think this is about COVID. No. How can we not close him down? And you see people outside just standing there watching. I would have been in there in a heartbeat. I would have been in there defending the guy and said, what the hell's wrong with you people? I'll tell you what, why don't you give up your salary? Right now, you are telling this guy, we're going to bankrupt your ass because we're afraid of COVID. We don't like freedom. You people are destroying his freedom. That's what every person around them should have been saying. They should have embarrassed these people. That's what they should be doing. But what do? This is why Real Republicans is not going to be a joyride for some people. We're going to teach you to speak up because we need everybody to speak up. I am sick and tired of being the only person speaking up. I really am. Not the only person, one of the only people. And it's time all of us do it. Oh, and I'll tell you, the one that really broke my heart, it really did, was a woman who, the Pineapple Bar, whatever it was, in California, where they shut her down. They shut down outdoor dining, and she was there to do a protest, and she goes in, and overnight, they had, this movie set had put all kinds of tents up so the people that work for the movie company had an outside place to eat. Yes. And the government shut her down. Where is everybody? Do you see why they get away with it? They get away with it real easy. The reason to get away with it is because we allow it. Because we have become a bunch of lame, wussy-ass Americans. We really have. Now, you may not like that, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Because when you, especially, look at Antifa and BLM, and we're not them, so I'm not going there. But look at them. They're strong in numbers. If you take Antifa people, this is the difference between them and us, by the way. If you take Antifa people on their own, they're the biggest bunch of cowards ever. Yes, let's be great together. I love that, Keith. Because, you know, there's one thing, I've never met Keith, and I'll meet him on Friday. But I have to tell you something. We enjoy the same feelings about our country. We want our country to be great again. You know, in fact, I brought this up, and this can be, let's make the real Republican Party great again. Real Republicans great again. Something like that, because the Republican Party now, it's not really Republican Party. It's a phony-ass, whatever the hell it is, and it's got Republican on it. That's all. It's a name. It doesn't mean anything because these people aren't Republicans. That's what we have. We are real Republicans. We love our country. We care about our country. We will fight for our country. When it's time to get out there, we have to be like the soldiers we are and not saying, well, it's a little cold outside. It's a little hot outside. I told you 3 weeks ago, I was so proud of everybody around us. Why? Because we were out, there were probably, well, you think there was 75 people in our county that showed up. You're going, 75 and a lot. It was raining. We showed up because we didn't feel the rain. And the best part, you know what the best part was? Is chasing the media off. We chased one of them off. We made them get in their cars because we weren't going to talk to a bunch of losers. Because they were lying about us. That's all they're going to do. And don't ever think this is where, some of you newbies, I've had it happen. You guys have been with me. Some newbie will come up to me and say, I think you're being too hard. Well, hell, let's just throw a Molotov cocktail in there, okay? We have First Amendment rights, and if you think pussyfooting around with these dictators is going to get anywhere, I'm telling you right now, I am not a violent person. But I'll tell you one thing, this mouth can move. And I'm going to let them know that we are not happy and there's a hell of a lot more of us outside than there is of them. But whenever some newbie comes up to me, and this is something I don't have patience for. It was a great turnout. It really was. It was, you're right, it was powerful. And you know what? Every person there would come back in a heartbeat. Everyone there, they were looking at me and they go, Dave, this is awesome. We feel like we have our power back. If we don't have our power, we're a bunch of weaklings. We're weaklings. I don't know about you. I don't want to feel weak. When you know what, I got to tell you, what makes me feel weak is when I feel like nothing can be done. And right now, we're in a country where we have the rich and powerful who have taken over our country. They're totally they use voter fraud to the max. We all know it. And what have we done? We've gotten weaker. Now, a lot of us have it. A lot of us get it. That's it. I wanted to read something one of you guys had up there real quick here. It's like when your black business neighbor says, black business owner, burn my neighbor's business but not mine because I'm black. If anyone's trying to burn my neighbor's business down black, white, or brown, you're right. See, that's the difference between us. Oh, I know. You know what? If that's what you want, you know what I tell people? Look, I used to be a cop, all right? I'm going to tell you right now. Threatening to arrest you is one thing. Arresting him is something else. If a cop told me I'm going to arrest you, I'm going to say, you have to do your job. I'm going to do it. I've done it many times. When I was, let me tell you, I haven't been a pussy in a long time. When I was at the inauguration, and some of you people know the story, but I want to tell you, this is where you have to have guts. When I was at the inauguration of President Trump in Washington, D.C., yes, I was there. I got through a gate. A whole bunch of people went through a gate, and I was one of the last ones to get through with somebody, and that person was dragging ass, and finally we get through. And one of the Capitol Police came up, big old heavy-set gal, comes up to me. She goes, you need to go back through that gate. I said, I'm not going through that gate. I felt like it was in a concentration camp. It was really bad. It had this fence there. So, they had these fences along, and you couldn't get paid, whatever. So, anyway, I go, I'm not doing it. And so she threatened to arrest me. Do you think I said, oh, I'm going to cower. I'm going to fall back? And I said, then do what you have to do. And then other Capitol Police showed up. And I said, I'll make you, and the sergeant took over. He was a really nice guy. He took over, and the gal cop kept saying, no, we're going to arrest him. We're going to arrest him. And I said, you do what you have to do. I'm not going back there. So he told her, he said, you just go that way. I'll take care of it. So he looked at me. He says, I'll make you a deal. If you go back, I won't arrest you. And I said, you might as well get the handcuffs out and put them on me now. And he looked at me and kind of smiled. And I said, pal, make you a deal. You go find all those other people walked up there. We'll talk. Otherwise, I'm not going anywhere. And you're going to have to arrest me in front of all my fellow Trump-supporting friends. Friends, not fans. Friends. A lot of people knew who I was. So here I am. I am telling the cop, arrest me. And he looked at me and says, I'm not going to arrest you. And I said, look, I used to be a cop. I dare you to arrest me. And he laughed at me. He says, I'm not going to do it. And I said, that's right. And if you did, I would walk away proudly. He goes, I'm not going to arrest you. And I said, I know it. I said, tell you what, I do a radio show. I'll say some really great things about you. He says, you got a deal. And I walked away. I shook his hand. Stand up for yourself. Stop being such a wuss. It drives me up a wall. Well, I may get arrested. For what? You walk away. You go in. They don't do it. You know what? It's an experience. Who cares? You stood up. Do you know how important it is to stand up for your country, to stand up for your president? Your president is out there fighting for you every single day, and you're afraid you're going to get arrested or something like that. Look, I don't like to get arrested, but my God, let's stop being wusses. Oh, I'm afraid. I'm in fear. Fear is what's driving our country into hell right now. We have people fearful. Let me tell you something. I want to start a chapter of the Proud Boys in St. Louis. I want to be a member. I do. I want to, Somebody said, well, you're not a big guy, Dave, or anything like that. You know what? I can still handle myself quite well. And frankly, I really don't give a damn because I'm willing to fight for my president. I'm willing to fight for my country. And I will stand up to any cop. I've said this before. Any cop that goes overboard trying to arrest somebody like that does not deserve to be a police officer. I want to know their name. I want to say their name on the air. I want to embarrass the hell out of them. I want all their friends to say, what the hell are you doing? This person is trying to make a living and you obey the unconstitutional orders of your commander? I'm sorry. I don't get it. Perfect. What the hell is everybody so afraid of? And you're afraid of losing your freedoms, and so am I. And you know what? Freedom isn't free. Freedom is something you fight for every single day. I do it every day. I have more time in my hands. And this is where every person watching this show right now has to be saying, I want to be a real Republican. Join us. If you want to go, you know what? I got to make sure I got to make sure we make it where you can ask to join. I don't even know if it's there. I'll double check. But in fact, Keith, a couple people I want to help make administrators, so you can help me with this because I don't care to be in charge. That's not what people think I want to be in charge. I couldn't care less. I want to be heard. I don't want to be in charge. I want to. Maybe I'll be in charge of heart because I don't do this. I don't do this to get popular. Believe me, I do this because I believe everybody's heart. If you are a patriot, these breaks I take, which I haven't taken any today, and I probably should. I need a break sometimes, but these breaks we take are breaks of Lee Greenwood and these awesome songs. And if you aren't listening to the words and the feelings in it, you're not a patriot in my book. You really aren't. Every person watching these things should be going, wow, that's tough. That's what I do. Because I love my country. Okay, I will fix that, Linda. Thank you for telling me. I will look, Real Republicans on Facebook, and I will make it available after the show. I will make sure if you want to join, you can. I know we're going to get some fool. Good. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. I will, I can't, look, I do what I can. You know that, Keith. And Keith is one of my main guys here. He really is. We want as many people to join. And I will tell you right now, if you want to join, please don't just be an observer. Don't just say, I want to go there and I want to play Facebook fights or I want to give my opinion of that. If that's what you're there for, go somewhere else. We want people in there that are dedicated, loving Americans who are willing to fight for our country and fight for our president. Now, I know I have a lot of spies who are going to come on there. And I know being an administrator, I've been an administrator of other groups. We have to, and we're going to look you up. This is what we're going to do. We're going to check you out. And because I've done this already, you go back and you find out these people, they don't have any history. If you don't have a history, you're not going to be invited. Oh yeah, I did Reopen America with Josh, and you have these people who want to be a pain in the ass. They want to come in here and play games. If your goal is to go in here and play games, I don't have a lot of patience. I really don't. But if you're one of those people that your goal is to go in here and play games, you'll be gone. You'll be gone in a heartbeat because I really don't have any patience for that. I'm there because I want our country to be better. And I think, after the next week or so, you're going to see a set of rules that not rules or something like that, but things that you need to follow because we don't need freeloaders. I'm going to, for those of you new, I'm going to give you one of my little inventions here. I've invented a few terms. Political welfare. I don't believe in political welfare. Now, you're saying, what's political welfare? Now, those of you that watch this show, you know what I'm talking about. Political welfare, let's just say what welfare is. Welfare, we know, are people who work their butts off. So these losers on the side, or these people on the side, get all kinds of free stuff. They get everything. The same thing happens with political welfare. If you think myself and all these other people who are going to work hard to try this to be a great group and the rest of it are going to want to work our butts off so you can sit on your butts and do nothing. You know what? If you're not capable, that's fine. There are a few that I understand. But if you can't offer your time or your money to help this, and this is not about money, but every organization has to have money. Everyone does. Because I can't afford to pay for everything. But if you really and truly are, you're going to say, this is part of what we're doing. We want to bring back the Republican Party the way it should be and not the way the loser is today. You know, I'll give you some names. You don't know some of these people, but some of them may be watching. We don't want phony Republicans in there. We don't want a Dennis Gannon in there unless he changes his ways. We don't want people we know for sure, a Ken Waller, a Derek Good. And some of them are watching right now, and that's fine. I really don't care. Maybe they'll learn something one of these days. Maybe they'll figure out that, you know what? I joined the Republican Party for a reason, not so I can get higher up and make lots of money and get power. That's what they do. That's not what we do. I've never gotten rich off it. I don't make any money off it, and I don't care. We have to support each other. We have to make sure these people are gone. You got it, the 90-10 rule. See, this is where we have to have the same heart. We have to have the same drive. Because if you're just one who wants to sit there, like I said, and just say, yeah, this is fun to do. And, I got all these Facebook friends. For them, Facebook is a mental exercise. If you are interested in mental exercise and arguing stupid things, I mean, really stupid, well, I'm trying to think of some of the things. I'll tell you one of them. One of the Senate candidates, and I'm going to bring it, I'm trying to remember his name offhand. I got into a Senate candidate. That's right, 90% in the wagon, 10% pulling. That's exactly what he meant. I understood what you meant when you said it. But when Donald Trump started redoing the trade deals to make it better for Americans, I knew what he was doing. I was with him all the way and said, good, we need to redo this. This is killing our jobs in our own country. And so many of these libertarian and Republican, all kinds of people said, well, Milton Friedman said that's not the way to do it. I said, Milton Friedman may have his good points, but if he really believes that unfair trade deals to our own people in our own country is good, then Milton Friedman is just another piece of crap economist. If that's what he's saying, he's wrong. Because when you see the jobs that came back, we had the greatest comeback. I mean, we had the greatest economy ever in the history of America. And people making more money, it was wonderful. And what did we have? We had all these people who I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I'm reading what Sherry said there, and I just, there are certain things that people say on there that just grab me. And one of them is, I agree, do everything you can according to your abilities. Because and I want to add to it, everybody can do something, even making phone calls. Let me tell you something. The one thing that when you do get involved, I'm not good at phone calls. I'm not going to lie to you. Some people are great at them. I mean, I can do it if I have to. But I try to, I'll tell you what, I was a coach of a lot of sports teams. And the one lesson I learned to be in coach of a sports teams was that I didn't put somebody that couldn't throw the ball as pitcher. You have in basketball, baseball, you have stick with baseball. Not everybody can pitch, not everybody can catch, not everybody can play outfield. You play the best position you play. That's what you do. Now, I remember my son's team. He had a young man that came to me. His dad came to me and says, "My son would like to pitch," and his son did this, as we used to say, threw like a girl. And I said, "Wait a minute. He needs to learn how to throw better before he can give him a chance." "Well, he likes to pitch." I go, "Well, a lot of things we like to do, we're not good at it. Practice and get better." So the point is, everybody, excuse me, everybody, there's something you could do and be really good at it. So just remember that. So, for the people out there that think they can't do something, everybody can do something. But the point is, do you want to do something? I want everybody to do something. Because if we don't do something, then you feel like you're just letting somebody else do it. And Keith is right about this. This is what happens. And by the way, I want to use that right there. Because to be fair, Keith, in a normal brain, if you are the 10% pulling the load and the 90% is loving everything you're doing, guess what? You feel like you do deserve to have more abilities to do more. You have more powers because that 90% is allowing that 10% to make all the decisions. That's what's going on now, except it's less. We got 5% of the people in the Republican Party making all the decisions. You know what, though, Carl? There are some people that are good at making phone calls. They are. They're really good at it. I'm not one of them. Yeah, I'm just not. There, and I don't. Even when people call me, I because of things, I just don't want to. I'm not even good at receiving. I have gotten better. I've tried to say, "Look, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm really not interested." Now, if they keep going, forget it. I hang up. But I just don't hang up. I generally, unless it's a recording. Unless it's a recording, I hang up. But if it's a real person, generally I'll say, "Look, I appreciate what you're doing. I know you're trying to make a living. I really don't have an interest. Thank you very much." That's it. That's what I do. And other people, other people out there, I don't know how some of those people do it. I'm not very good. I'm not very good at losing. I'm just not. So back to what I was saying about that important thing that Keith said. Why would you be the 90% allowing other people to make decisions for you? That's what's going on today. Go back to my theory. You keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That's called insanity. And frankly, I don't want this insanity to continue. The insanity of what's going on today is not making. I will say, the one thing I have said for you new people is if Donald Trump was to come to say, "You know what, I've had enough of the Republican Party, I'm starting our own," I will tell you right now, we would go ahead and join in. You're right. Lynn and I both have been in a lot of campaigns. And you do meet a lot of people, and you feel like you're getting things accomplished. And Linda, isn't this true, though? And this is what we are going to change, because we don't want this anymore. I don't need somebody sitting on their butt doing nothing telling me how to do something. I'm sorry, I don't like it. Get off your ass. Show us how to do it. Don't just tell me. There's a lot of those people out there. But when you have these groups, you'll have 90% of them telling you everything you need to do and telling the 10% how to do it. Yeah, the 10% that are doing, the 90% is saying what to do. I don't know about you people. For me, that's not good. And so I want the 90% and the 10% changed. Actually, I like to be 100%. I know that's physically impossible. And look, there are some people who physically have issues. I get it. But in most cases, there is something you could do. And honestly, if there's something you could do, that's great. Anything is better than nothing. But sitting around playing mental exercises on Facebook and thinking you're actually accomplishing something. When I used to get mad at some of these people, when I get mad, They sit there and try to tell me how to do things. And I would say, now, wait a minute. I have done this, this, and this. What have you done? Well, I'm not talking about that. And I said, I know. Because to you, this is nothing more than a mental exercise. You have never been involved in a campaign. You've never given any money. Most people haven't. You've never done anything, but you're the expert. Oh, I have fun with this. So what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a carpenter. Well, guess what? I'm a carpenter today, too. But you've never been one. No kidding? I've seen it done. So if I can see it done, you know what? I'm going to play the left side. I'm a carpenter today, so that's what I want to be. I'm a trans carpenter. How's that? I feel like a carpenter today. That's what I'm going to do. That's what it is. Oh, yes. When they do that, I get pissed and ask them why they weren't in a campaign. Yeah, you get all that stuff. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And I said, because you weren't there to help us. Well, but, you know, and that's what happens, isn't it? You know what? You're right, Sherry. What I do here and what I do when I'm in front of audiences is a full-time job. When I get done with these shows, I'm bushed. I have to take an hour or two off a lot of times, and I can't. But sometimes I'll get off. I'll go in there and watch Matlock just to get it off my mind. And, you know, I'll maybe play a little bit or something like that. I do it. I get off my mind. That's what I do. And then when I have a job I got to do, a lot of times I'll say, all right, I got to hurry up and take a shower, get out of here, and that's it. That's what I do. But it takes a lot of energy to do what I do. In fact, I get a kick out of when people say, well, anybody can do that. You want the other 2 days a week? Go for it. You could be the Super Dave Show, and you could be my guest host. Go for it. But don't ever think this is an easy job, because this has been through a lot of experience. And when I first started doing this, I remember doing radio down in Springfield. And I can talk. Everybody knows I can talk. Yeah, I identify as a carpenter, yeah. But I'll never forget. Here I am. Super Dave, I can talk. I was on 4 to 6. It's 5:30, and I've run out of stuff. And for me, that's hard to believe. 5:30, and that clock would just barely move. I said, this isn't working. This is a lot harder than I thought. And I had to really work hard at being able to do this. It's not easy. It's easier. That's why I appreciate some of these people that do it. You know, Rush does it. He takes more breaks, and I plan on doing that more. In fact, I'm going to be put some commercial together why you should be a real Republican, and put music with it. I mean, I know how to do some of that stuff. I wish somebody else would help me. It's funny how a lot of people say, oh, I'd love to help you, and they're nowhere around. You ever get that too? Oh, yes, I can't wait to help you. Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? When we had our children. When your wife's pregnant. Oh, I love taking your baby. Anytime you two want to get away, I just love babies. It's great. So your children are born. And after a little while, you say, you know what? I think it's time you and I go out, and that's it. Remember all those people that couldn't wait to watch your children? They're all busy. They're all doing things. It's the same way. They're all busy. You can't find anybody. So you go to grandma and grandpa. That's how a lot of grandmas and grandpas do it. Well, see, that's the whole point. People come in here and start telling me about politics. I mean, there's someone, I'm not going to mention her name, but there's someone recently I've tried to help, and if she's watching, I'm just letting, and this happens. When you are getting involved in politics, if you think you know how to compete with these people and you're new, you're going to get your clock cleaned. Am I right, Keith? Am I right, Linda? You people have done this, Ronnie? You're going to get your clock cleaned. They're gonna chew you up and spit you out. There is an art to learning how to do this. Now, I have many years of experience. I'm not trying to outdo everybody. I have many years of experience, and I know how to do it pretty well. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Sometimes you miss it. I've done it more than once, but I don't miss it very often anymore. As someone told me one day, he said, "Dave, if there's a fake in the room, you know who it is." That's pretty much what it amounts to. Ronnie knows. Ronnie had to deal with it. He was involved. And so for you people out there involved, the goal of this show, honestly, is not just to get you involved, but it's to teach you what real politics is all about. And some of it you're not going to like. But you know something? It's going to give you the experience and the knowledge you know to at least have to identify it. Would that be about the best way to say it? Because you're going to get all these politicians. First off, let me tell you right now about politicians. Never, ever, ever treat them like they're God's gift. That's the biggest mistake people make. Oh my God, you're our senator. Thank you so much. You're well wonderful. I've never done that yet. I go up there and say, "Hey, Roy." That's it. That's the best thing I'll ever say to Roy Blunt. They know me. I know them. And some people, if they gave me grief, I give it back. And not only that, I give it back harder than they'll ever give it to me. Because I have that down to a science. You know, we have a guy in our county named Dan Shaw. I mention him every day. He wants to be your senator. Oh, so he's playing all the parts right. Yes, he's your state rep right now, and he wrote the mail-in voting law. That's right. Anyway, but he wants to be your senator because he's learned from that. Oh yes, he's learned from that, and so all the people think he's wonderful. He's on the school board in his area. Let me tell you the difference. Some people on the school board, and he may be doing it for the right reasons. I'm just telling you who a lot of these people are. They get on the school board because they want people to know that I'm involved. Yes. So on their resume, it says, "I did this and I did this." And they go, "Oh, wow, he's really involved." Yes, they want those headings. But I go by what they do in the legislature. When they write mail-in voting laws and all these other, this ridiculous legislation, those are not the people I want in my Republican Party. He would not be invited in as a real Republican. Besides that, as he told Wendy, I am a hard right person. And if anybody really knows me, it's far from that. There's things that I guarantee you that I disagree on with some of my good Republican friends who I think are real Republicans. Brian Spencer. Some of the other ones, we don't agree on everything. And I don't care about that. I really don't care if we agree on everything. But you know what I do know? Is that we can talk about things. And that's what counts. But if they're trying to bullshit you, forget it. We'll be working with Bradley Jackson and for mayor of Ozark. We need a much better leadership and decision-making in Ozark. Ronnie, if you would, do me a favor. Send me the info, if you will. You can text it, or you can send it to me to superdaveshow@gmail.com. By the way, if you want to get a hold of me, that's what you do. We're going to have more on our website once I get that going, or we get it going, I should say. But send that information to me so you can tell me the filing dates. I believe it's going to be all the same, but anyway, but the filing dates and what the positions are that are available, whatever information you can. Anybody, no matter where you are, as time goes on, we want our website to be, and it's going to change over time, and it's going to be, because it's going to get so big that we're going to have to figure out another ways of doing it. That's now why I do it for a living. But we want to be where you can say Christian County. That's where Ozark is. And you go in Christian County, you can find all the elections going in Christian County. Because it really is a county deal. You know, all elections are in the county. That's what it amounts to, except for the few cities like St. Louis and Baltimore, which is not part of a county. For those of you who don't realize that, certain cities like Ozark, excuse me, Ozark is part of Christian County. Springfield is part of Greene County. Arnold is part of Jefferson County. I can go on and on, but most cities are part of counties. You know what? Most people don't even know this. They really don't. This is where civics sucks. You know what we ought to do some days? I think this would be great. Maybe on the days when I can't be here, maybe we can get somebody to teach the basics of government, how government works, the different. That would be great. That's not my thing. But if we can get somebody to come on here for an hour or something like that and say, all right, I'm here on Super Dave Show, whatever you want to call it, you might as well because people come here. And I will say, you listen to this guy because this guy knows. I mean, I don't know everything about this. You know, look, I've been doing it for a while. I didn't know until, 10 years ago? I knew nothing about Central Committee. There is so much to government. I knew nothing about Central Committee. Did you, Ronnie? You didn't know anything about it. And how important it is. But we also learned, Ronnie and I both learned, that it's run by the establishment, and it's kind of a fake club to some extent. Oh, yes, we want you to run, that's it. And there are some that they have maybe one of us, our type, running it. But in most cases, it's the establishment running it, and they do not want anything to do with people like myself or Ronnie. Ronnie is a great American. In fact, I'll say this, Ronnie may not have any interest, who knows? Ronnie is the guy that I said several years ago. We just didn't have the vehicle to do it, but Ronnie's one of the people I said should run for Congress because he's a great American. He served his country. He did ROTC. He taught, ROTC, all that stuff. Yeah, teach about caucuses. Those are the things we need because that's not my gift. My gift is being a jackass. I know you're laughing, but no, my gift is doing what I do here. That's my, and that's why I did it. If we have people, I would be more than willing to give up this microphone and whatever to do this. And maybe we can have video. Maybe somebody can do a video and whatever. But I'll tell you what's really nice is to have people who would come back. I'm not going to do that anyway. Who would come out here or just do it? You could do it anywhere electronically, but if you could go ahead and become part of this and say, I want, and we could do that through Real Republicans. There you go. See, it's not all that. We can say because you can do it on my show, but we can have Real Republicans. In fact, you know what? As we're talking about it, that could be something we look forward to for everybody. And Real Republicans have a communications part. See, when I talk about this, I think it's hard to do. Have a communications part of the club to where we can communicate through emails and rest. I'm terrible at that, by the way. Have a texting way of doing it. Have all kinds of ways. This is not just a bunch of people going back and forth. I'm telling you people right now, this is about a real Republican Party. You got that? A real Republican Party where we're all involved. Most of us have duties. There are some people in charge of others. And, you got your strengths. Like I said, you got pitchers and catchers, whatever. Not everybody can be a quarterback or running back. We have all different. Chat rooms. We can do all that. Well, we actually have a chat room through Facebook right now. But there's things we could do. There's things we can do. And that's the whole point. But we don't here's the point now. This is where we get in trouble. We don't want 10% of the people putting this together, the other 90% enjoying it. I am not real. I am not really good. Now I do have some negatives. I don't have a lot of patience. I'm my two worst things are patience and stupidity. I really don't deal with stupidity very well. I really don't. When I see what people do sometimes, and I always try to associate logic and common sense with most everything I do. By the way, some people hate that. By the way, and this is something people have to understand. Take emotion. You can take emotion in politics and use it, But what we want to do, and this is part of the rules we have. See, I told you, I think a lot when I'm doing this show. Turn your emotion into passion. Because if you turn your emotion into passion, then you're willing to do something. But if you're just going to go back and forth and say, well, I believe this, whatever, go join the emotional party, the Democrat Party, or the real or the phony Republican Party, because that's what that party is. It's all about emotion. It's all ridiculous. It really is. There's just so many people out there that have so many gifts, and I believe we can uncover those. When we have these, well, I'm good at this. Well, good. And then all of a sudden they become in charge of it, and you find these gifts. There's people out there that are really good at things that I'm not good at it. I'm not good at websites. I will do it until we get somebody who's good at it that says, oh, this is nothing. We may have to pay them. I don't know. If that's what we got to do until somebody volunteers, that's fine. But we have to do what it takes to be successful. And I'm willing to do everything I can. So this is not just about this is really about really coming up with something that's going to be major in our communities, in our state, and hopefully in the country eventually. Because wouldn't it be great if we had the real Republican Party against the phony Republican Party, and instead of libertarian, people are going to say, you know what, I'm not. In fact, we'll have TV commercials. Not a problem. You want to be a phony Republican? There's where they are. This is what they do. They side against Trump. They go against this. They go against that. They believe in Planned Parenthood. Those are the phony Republicans, my friend. Those are the ones that we don't want. So I don't think it's that big a deal to go out there and get people to say, you know what, I want to be a real Republican. Screw this phony crap. Because I don't like phonies. I've never liked phonies in my life. It's funny because I've been called a phony a few times, and I have to tell you, those are fighting words in my world. I am so far from being a phony. It just, I put my money and my time where my mouth is. And I have this thing that I never want to give up. Am I perfect? God, no, I'm not. I don't know anybody that is. But I give it everything I have all the time. And even this show, I didn't even take a break today. I guess I was on a roll and that was it. And I want to fix those things. With me, here's part of the problem. If I do 5 shows a week right now, I can't improve the show. I can't help real Republicans. I can't do all those things. Well, happy birthday, Sharon Shenbeck. There you go. We can even do birthdays. I guess we can do that. At my age, I don't even talk about my birthday anymore. I stopped having birthdays back in the 50s, in my 50s. Yeah, I'll tell you what, my next big one, I'm not looking forward to at all. I have no patience, but I'm good at networking. I know people, you know what? Networkers are very important. I'm an idea person. I will get up there, as you know, and I'll vocalize things. I'm not too bad at that, I guess. I'm not good at networking. I love people. This is where real Republicans matter. And let me explain. If you are good at networking, if you are good at something, use those talents. When you get people to say, I want to do it all, that's about power. I have no problem giving up something. If there's somebody that's a better speaker to me, they could join me, they could be there. I really don't care. My goal is what we're trying to accomplish, not me. I couldn't care less. That's why I wish some of these other talk show hosts would get off their dead asses and bury the hatchet and become part of the solution instead of carving out their little audience, their audience or whatever, their big audience. I don't really care. Because if they aren't getting these people doing the things that we need to do, right now, there's other talk show hosts out there that should be, Dave, that is a great idea. I'm so glad you thought of it. I'm glad, you're getting this done. I don't want to be a hero. I just want the things to be done. That's what I want. But we need people to do all these different things. And eventually, we're going to have more people watching this show than most. That's not my goal. My goal is for people to get involved. That's my goal. But I think a lot of people are just tired of someone getting up there playing hero. Some of you people know what I'm talking about. They get up there and they pound and say, I don't like this person. I don't like, you know what? I don't think we need to talk about all these people we hate so much. Because we're in charge of putting them in place. So we can talk about all. This is the problem we have with politics, and this may hit pay dirt. When we spend all our time talking about the people we don't like, we don't talk about the things that we can do to change those people. We don't get together and change those people. Because all those people up there got there because they keep us divided. I mean, there's going to be some division no matter what. I get that. But the way they win, the way Sam Page wins, the way all these other people win, Lyda Cruz and all the other ones, the way they win is by dividing us. And if we can change that, there are a lot of black people out there right now that are looking for an escape. I would love to have, wouldn't it be great to have a lot of really good black people who are conservative, who want to earn a living? And there are people, I'll tell you right now, when I was a police officer, I remember talking to a lot of those people, and they really didn't like, but they didn't know where else to go. And let's be honest here. The phony Republican Party has done the worst job on the planet of including everybody. Because you want to hear the funny part? They don't even include us. The phony Republican Party only wants our money and our votes. That's all they want. They got it taken care of. You saw that yesterday, or day before, Monday. You saw that when Mitch McConnell was congratulating President-elect Joe Biden. Because ultimately, those were the results they wanted. They didn't want Trump to win. If you think Mitch McConnell wanted Trump to win, forget it. He's got to play the game. He's got to play the theater. That's what he's done. I don't want that in my life. I want things to where we can go forward. All right, now I got things I have to do. I'm done. I think I've spent enough time boring people, whatever. All right, just pay attention. I will put a word out if I have another show. If something big comes up, I will. I will see some people on Friday, and we will, as time goes on, I would like this to happen. I want people to think about this. I would like us to find a facility that we can have because, and there's a reason why. Republican Party has a lot of money, but they use it for what they want. I want us to be able to have a place where we can do things to improve our country and do so much that's better. A place that we can go hang out. I don't care if it's got a bar. I really don't care. A place that we can go to and hang out and be red-blooded Americans again, where we can hang out and talk about our country, all that stuff, the things that we can do. There are so many things that we can do. We have all these other clubs that are great. Right now, the Republican Party owns us, and frankly, I don't know about you people. Let's not be slaves anymore the rest of our lives. Let's not be slaves to the people who run our lives in the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, because they're the same thing right now. We all know it. Let's not be slaves to those people, because I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be. And I don't expect you to be either. So, hey, there you go, Keith. Another commandment. Don't be a slave. Because we may not think we're slaves. We're slaves. Hey, you want to know how we're slaves? All you have to do is walk around and look at the slave faces. Look at all the people. Oh, Mitch McConnell got big donation from Dominion. Wow, isn't that shocking? Let me tell you something. We are slaves. When you go into a store and you're the only ones in that store with a mask on, you are a slave. Break the chains. That's right. I understand if you got to go into a place, but remember something. When you go in that door of an establishment, they have a right to do what they do. But if you walk in there and they don't say anything, then there's no reason to put your slave mask on. If you have to go in there, good. If you don't have to, forget it. And by the way, I am on Parler and Gab and MeWe. I don't do much on there right now. I don't have the time, but things will be going. One other thing I want to add to it this weekend, I want to add the different links of all the different places that I go to, and I'd be more than happy to get the links of places you like, kind of like a Judge Report did. I don't know if they still do it. We're not going to turn into a Judge Report, but they had links of all the different people it's great to go to, like PJ Media and some of the other ones, and the ones to avoid. By the way, those should be listed too, the ones of the enemy. That's really important to know who the enemies are, because if you think political is on our side, forget it. We have to say who to watch and who not to watch. So, all right, everybody. I am done for the day. I'm not necessarily done for the week, but right now we're going to say I am. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon.
You can't quit.
That's why not? I get fired.
You can't fire him.
Why not?
He quit.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Sherman? Forget it, he's rolling.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Thanks. I needed that.